Hi everybody, we're going to learn about equation of lines. Equations of lines. How do we know when two lines are parallel? We know that two lines are parallel because when they're same slopes. Perpendicular. Slopes are negative and reciprocal, then you know that those two lines are perpendicular. When they're intersecting, two lines are intersecting, they have different slopes and they're unrelated. What is the difference between parallel lines and coinciding lines? Parallel lines have same slope. Coinciding lines means coincide, they have same slope and same intercept. So parallel lines only have same slope, but coinciding lines have same slope and same y-intercept. So what is a parallel slope to these three equations? First, you have to change this to y equals mx plus b. So when you move this to the other side, you add 7x, divide everything by 4, 4, 4, because you have 4 in front of y. So your slope is going to be 7 over 4. And what is a parallel slope to this? That's 7 over 4. This number right here is a slope, negative 3 over 2. So any line that is parallel to this equation will be negative 3 over 2. This you need to convert to y equals mx plus b. Divide everything by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So 1 will be the slope and 1 will be the slope that is parallel to this. Then what is the perpendicular to these slopes? So you just have to do reciprocal and negative. So here you have, if you have 7 over 4 as your slope, this is the same equation with one before we did. You just have to flip it to reciprocal it to 4 over 7. If it's positive, you're going to put the negative. So when you have two slope that is inverse and you do negative or inverse sign and reciprocal, those two lines are perpendicular to each other. Right here, you have negative 3 over 2. You have 2 over 3. You flip, and then if it's negative, change to positive. Then it's going to be perpendicular to each other. And then this one, you have 3. You divide it by 3. This one, the slope was positive 1. But if you write negative 1, that's going to be perpendicular to each other. So write the equation of a line that is parallel to negative 6x plus y that goes through negative 2 and 3. So first of all, you're going to change this to y equals mx plus b. When you change this equation to y equals mx plus b, you're going to add 6x on each side. So you're going to have y equals 6x plus 5. And then that line needs to go through this point. So we know parallel line is going to have same slope, which is 6. And we know it's going to go through this point. So that's going to be a point and a slope. So you're going to use point slope form. So here we're going to write 6 for m. And then we're going to use x1 here. So negative negative becomes plus. Y1 here, which is 3. So this is minus minus, but because this negative, make that a plus. And then we're going to do the distributive property, 6x plus 12. And then we're going to add 3 to 12, and that's how I get 16x plus 15. So this and this will be parallel to each other, parallel lines. When we do perpendicular, we want to find a perpendicular line that is that goes through 4 and negative 1. We're going to use point slope form again, but the slope is not the same. Perpendicular, the slope is going to be reciprocal and negative. So opposite of 1 over 3 is 3, and then this is positive, you put negative. If this is negative, you do positive. So you want to opposite the sign. And then you're going to put m for negative 3, use point slope form, x1, y1. So x minus 4, and then y1 is negative 1. But here you have negative 1, so that becomes a plus. So be careful with that. After you put it into point slope form, you're going to do the distributive property, negative 3x plus 12, subtract 1, that's how you get 11. So negative 3x plus 11. And you can graph these two and look at it and see if they are perpendicular to each other. I just typed the first equation here on the y1, second equation in y2. Make sure they're in slope-intercept form. Once you type these, you can hit graph and then see if they form a perpendicular lines, and they do. So that's an indicator that they are perpendicular to each other. Write the equation of the line given A 0, 4, B 5, 2, C negative 2, 4. Write the equation of the line that passes through C and that is perpendicular to AB. So first of all, you need a slope of AB, line AB. So A is here, B is here. So you need to find slope y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. x1, y1, x2, y2. So you're going to find a slope of AB. So 4 minus 2 equals 0 minus 5, or you can do it the other way. So the slope is negative 2 over 5. Now, if this, we want to get an equation that is perpendicular to negative 2 over 5. So perpendicular slope, this means perpendicular slope is m, m means slope, will be positive 5 over 2. You have a different sign and you reciprocal it. So you need to use 5 over 2 for your m. And then that's going to go through C, which is negative 4. So when you have a point and a slope, you put it into point slope form. So 5 over 2, x plus 2, y plus 4. They're both negative, so minus negative becomes plus 2, minus negative 4 becomes plus 4. Once you have the new slope and a point, you're going to plug it in and then change to y equals mx plus b. So you're going to do the distributive property. 5 over 2x plus 5 over 2 times 2 is 5. And then subtract 4 on each side. So this becomes a 1. The answer is y equals 5 over 2x plus 1. So first, we found the slope using A, B, y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. And then we flipped it, changed the sign to get the new slope. Once we have the new slope, we use C and then use point slope form to convert to the equation. Let's take a look at the next one. Given A, negative 4, negative 1, B, negative 1, negative 4, C, 3, and negative 2. Write the equation of the line that passes through C and is parallel to AB. So we need to find a slope of AB again. x1, y1, x2, y2. So the slope of this, we're going to do negative 1 plus 4, negative 4 plus 1, and then 3 over negative 3 is negative 1. So your slope of AB is negative 1. Once you have the slope, you're going to do a parallel slope, which is negative 1. And that is here. We're going to put it in the point slope form. Their slope is the same because they're parallel to each other. And then you have to use 3 and negative 2 because this line goes through C. So 3 is here, negative 2 is here, but minus negative 2 is plus 2. So you're going to write this point slope form. Once you write everything into the point slope form, you're going to do the distributive property, and then you're going to solve. So that's negative 1x plus 3, because negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3. And then subtract 2 on each side. So negative x plus 1 will be your equation. So that's the answer. Next one we're going to see is write the equation of the line given a is 2, negative 4, b is 5 and 8. Write the equation of the line that is parallel to AB and contains the midpoint of AB. So you need to find a midpoint between A and B. So first, let's do the slope first. The slope is y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So that will be negative 4 minus 8. And then 2 minus 5. I went the other way, but it's okay. It's the same thing. And then negative 12 divided by negative 3 is positive 4. So the slope is positive 4. And it says parallel. So parallel slope will be positive 4. That will be the new slope. Now, we need to find a midpoint between A and B. Remember, midpoint is x1 plus x1 plus x2 divided by 2. So 2 plus 5 is 7. 7 divided by 2 is your midpoint. The y midpoint is negative 4 plus 8, which is 4 divided by 2 is 2. So this is your midpoint. So we're going to use parallel slope and the midpoint to put it into the point slope form. So m will be 4, x1 will be negative 7 over 2, y will be 2. And then you're going to do the distributive property. So when you multiply to each, 4x, this times this is negative 14. And then we're going to add 2 here, add 2 here. So that's going to be negative 12. So y equals 4x minus 12. So that will be the equation that goes through a midpoint between these two and has the same slope as this parallel right here. And the slope was found from using A and B. And then because it's parallel, they have the same slope.